Professor.
Yes.
I can't sign into the class through archive. Like, it's not allowing me to.
I know a few people have that issue. You need to work it out. There's a mobile app and there's a web page.
There's not a web page.
Oh, not a web page anymore.
Well, I got the mobile app. It's just it's graded out. It says class in progress. So
you should be able to log in between 5 minutes till and quarter after. Is anyone else having the same issue? Where it's grayed out?
Normally mine grays out after I've already checked in. So like now that I'm checked in, it says class in progress.
All right, it just keeps doing that.
Yeah.
And your Wi-Fi otherwise is good.
Otherwise, good.
do I show like I'm logged into your class, Professor?
Let's have a look. I'll go to archive.
If not, it could also be, oh, sorry. It could also be that you didn't allow the app to have location access, because I had a problem with that too.
Oh, okay. So you want to turn your location. It shouldn't need location because that's the whole point is that it's an online class.
Yeah.
The whole app itself requires location access, but not your class specifically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the location's on and it's still doing this.
All right, well, I'll fly through here and I'll do the roll. So, Chad Ackley says absent. Rafael Almeida, present. Colby Baum says present. Gunnar Bostrom says absent. Jesse Cameron, present. James Critchlow, present. Isaac Dobbins, present. Ian Erickson, present. David Finley, absent. Jason Fonsbeck, present. Christian Hansen, absent. Jackson Knight, present. Jaden Lippert, present. Leo Lamakwahu, is it? Present. Abby Lyons, that's you, Abby? Okay.
I'm actually surprised you got that quick.
What's that?
I'm surprised you got that quick.
Is that good? All right. Alonzo Marquez, present. Morgan Martin, absent. Ian McKell, present. Rory McNeil, absent. Jordan Mortensen, absent.
I'm actually here.
Jordan, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, thanks.
Cody Osler, present. Paul Pena, absent. William Pendleton, present. Gordon Reed, absent. Brecken Shumway, present. Danes Wallace, present. Zach Walters, absent. Wesley White, absent. Nicholas White's present. Jaden Wilcox, absent. Seth
I'm
Young.
here, actually. I just checked
Jaden?
in, so I don't know if it's registered yet.
Okay.
Jaden Wilcox, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was editing it, so.
Also, Christian Hansen just checked in. So
Kristen Hansen just checked in. Okay, yep, good. All right, share my screen. Okay. Look at the calendar real quick. So with chapter 3, we've got 3 more labs to do. Again, welcoming feedback from you guys on whether I'm hammering you or whether this is a good level here. Generally, these HTML labs should take you 30 minutes, 60 minutes maybe, maximum. Is that about right?
I'm having more problems with the in-class projects. The instructions on sidebooks sometimes are a little not unclear to me.
Right. Okay, and just again, be aware that the TA and I are constantly available. So if you have questions, just go ahead and fire them out. Also, just on the teams, for example, you put your questions out. Don't sit back and go, I don't know what's going on. Just throw it out there. You might have peers that have had the same issue. I'm going to go through the lab that we turned in yesterday real quick, because a lot of people had issues with the character entities, the entity tags.
Yeah, that's the one that I have issues with.
Yep.
They forget the semicolon after special characters.
It actually doesn't mind if there's no semicolon. So going to go through that real quick. And so happy birthday message. So FanWeb, happy birthday message creator on Friday. That's just it's a form. And then the 14th, next Monday, another form. So there are 2 forms. And so I'm going to go over forms today as well. I don't recommend that you wait till the day they're due to start working on it. Just so you know, I would get the next 2 labs knocked out today. And then if you have questions, then you have time to ask and time to track down the TA or me. I'm available for a couple hours after this class, but pretty much any time on Discord or Teams. If you have a question, you can fire it to me. I'm usually available. Again, or the TA also. So if you're struggling in the class, there's a few people I can see who haven't really turned in many assignments. Don't sit back again and just flounder in the class. Know that we're here, and there's a lot of people who have a hard time at first, sort of grasping the concepts, with this. But once you get going, like I say, you find that I'm hoping that all these little lab exercises are going to get you just into the groove. But if you're struggling, you can come sit down with me. I'll go online with you for an hour and walk through stuff with you if you need to. I got time. No one ever comes to my lab, my office hours. I got 5 hours a week. I get about, 30 minutes of student time. Okay, so I'm there waiting and no one comes. And so don't sit back and struggle. All right. And don't think that you're the only dumb one in the class, or, anyway, not that I'm calling anyone dumb. I'm just saying you think you're dumb. And so you think everyone else got it and you don't have it. That's not the case usually. Okay. There's usually, 20% of the class or so that's struggling just as much as you are. So don't hesitate. All right. So we are going to go through a couple real quick. We'll go up here. And I'm going to go to the live book assignment. Okay, so I was asking about the in-class. The only reason I have in-class there is that my intention is to demo it in class, and you can just follow along. And I actually forgot to do that on Tuesday, so you were left on your own. But I'll go through this now. If you got kind of held up by that whole thing, I won't charge late fees on this one if you had issues. So. Okay, lab HTML practice. I'm just going to walk through this one. Okay, so, and again, I do agree that sometimes the instructions are not 100% crystal clear. Okay, but not, if you have to read very, very carefully, folks. All right. All right, template contains an H1 tag for each problem. Each problem is followed by HR tag. Okay, so that's already done for you, right? Some of you removed those. And of course, that affects the unit tests. You should never change the code they give you. If they just say put your code in there, then put your code in there. All right. All right. And so on occasion, the unit tests are a little picky. Well, I mean, for example, if I left out one word or one character, it's going to fail. All right. So copy and paste the entire quote. Use 2 paragraph tags, one for the quote and another for Steve Jobs. Okay. All right, just go ahead and do that. I apologize to those who found this really easy and are going to be bored to tears, but there we go. I'm going to put a P tag in there. Take the closing tag. Going to fly to the end. Closing tag in. That's number 1. Okay, so what's that?
That was the first part of number 1.
Oh, was there another part of number 1?
Yeah.
Hang on, go back. Put an I tag in the first paragraph and closing all. Oh yeah, thank you very much. You got me on this. I'm going to go I. Okay. I tag in there. Go to the end. Inside. Yes. You don't want to get mismatched things. So that's good. So what I would do if I were you right now is I would go down here and I would go ahead and just drag this file. Let's go here. Drag it over. Submit it. So you can do partial submits, and usually I just do the first part. Check it. Okay, good. 2 out of 2. Got it. Next thing. All right. I recommend that you kind of work in that fashion. So let's go back here. It says, next 2 questions use character entities. So we read about those. So you and reason we use character entities are because if I want to display, for example, right, a left bracket, it's really hard to do because it's always interpreted as a tag. Okay? And so that's why, again, we have these character entities. I can display whatever I want. So I'm going to say place the answer. So I need a P tag in there. All right. And the question is print an ampersand in an HTML comment. Okay. All right. So this is what I want my output to look like. I copy that. I'm going to go back and I'm going to say everything in the P tag.
You want to X out that you're speaking thing. Because it's kind of covering up your work right now on the screen.
Oh. All right, let's expand this out. So that's the output I want. Of course, since this is a comment, it's not going to be rendered in the browser. It'll never show up. So to make it show up, I need to turn those into character entities. So I'm going to go ampersand LT. Then I'm going to do exclamation, because that's not a special character, dash dash, that's not a special character either, space, but the ampersand is ampersand amp, okay? Space, dash dash, and then I need to do ampersand RT. Did I get that right?
No, no, it's right again.
I think it's GT.
Oh, yeah, GT. Great. Oh, great. Less than, greater than. Sorry. Yep. I'm thinking left and right. Yeah. There we go. So now I've got that correct. Let's go ahead and erase this other junk. Okay. Save that.
You can go live.
And we'll drag it over. Let's see. Text start ends with a dash dash bump nearby. Oh.
Go live to see what's actually got output.
All right. So now I've got.
I think it may have an extra space between the dashes and the greater than sign.
Yeah, look at that. Okay. But I could also, like you're saying, go look at it, right? So if I got a problem, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to look at it, and I can see, oh, dash.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a space there, right? Okay, that done. Okay. 2 and 3 were the ones that got most people. Did anyone have any questions on? Want to go over the rest of it? Let's see. Well, let's go. Let's go through this. All right, so that should be good. Now our next thing is to use character entities, print P nice. Okay, so all right, I can't actually put a P tag in there because I won't be able to print the P tag. The P tag will just do what P tags do. So I'm going to go back. And that's what I want. But instead, I want to turn that into ampersand LT colon P ampersand GT colon nice ampersand LT colon / P ampersand GT. I believe that is correct. Go back here. Create a link to stuff HTML, which is in the same directory as your HTML solution file. Content A tag. A href equal my stuff dot my stuff dot.
HTML.
Go to my stuff. Create an image link to zybooks.com using Zybooks logo. Image link. Okay. First of all, I'm going to do, let's get this. Image source equal Zybooks logo.png. Okay. Wrap that in an A tag. And what's it supposed to do?
Links to my.
Go to zybooks.com. Href equal books.com. Create the list shown on the page below. Okay, so this looks like it's a ordered list with unordered lists inside. Okay, let's go just again. Just it's an image.
No, in this case,
It's an image. Okay. Alrighty. Hold on. I'm gonna need to. Yeah, I've got it. Desktop. Linux, Mac OS, Windows. OL. And then of course I've got LIs. Okay, I've got Linux. I've got Mac OS and Windows. Oh, that's my internal one. First I have an LI with desktop. Okay. And that's got an unordered list inside of it. Okay. So if I'm embedding a list inside of a list, what I do is I write the text for the LI, and then I just stick the UL directly after the text. That's not always obvious. That's Mac OS Windows. Okay, LI desktop, and so I need another LI for mobile, Android and iOS. Mobile, okay, embedding a UL, thank you, you can help me with that. The next one's iOS with a little I. That it? I think that might be it. All right. Last one. Doing a table. So I'm going to create a table with 3 rows and 3 columns. Top row contains 1 cell with a column span of 3. The leftmost cell in the next row spans 2 rows. All of the cells span a single row and column. Yeah, I could do all that manually. I'm just going to grab the solution real quick and talk about it. And talk about it with you real quick. All right. Let's go down. I don't want to spend the time to do that right now. Control-C. Let's go back.
And you don't have to make the headers, but it's just make it.
Okay. So just going back over the table structure, the table has a head, T head, and a T body. If I have a T head here, I say TR, and then I use TH for table header. What they ask is that this span 3 columns. So if I say if it spans 3 columns, then it's going to, like I say, span the entire width of the table, of the 3-column table. Why does the row have 3 columns? Why? Because there's 1, 2, 3 TDs. Ooh. Yeah. And there's actually 4 columns. There's actually 4 columns. This has a row span of 2. This one's got 2. Okay, wait. Let's go. Go live on this. Let's see what I've got here. Okay. Let's do this so you guys can visualize this a little bit better. Let's do.
If you go to their they have a little border thing.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go back there then. Thank you. We'll go back here. Oh, it had a row span. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So we're looking at 3 columns. This guy is spanning all 3. Okay. Let's go here. So this had a row span. So that's why I look here. This had a row span of 2. Okay. So it's gonna this first column is gonna take up 2 rows. So that's going to be column 2, column 3. Okay. This is going to be the second and third column because this guy's taking up the first. Okay. This guy's spanning all 3. So just reorder that. So that's what I should get now. Let's see if I did all this right. You and I get it wrong sometimes.
No, you did do something wrong.
I did do something wrong?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's find out. Boom. Nine out of 10. You're right. I did something wrong. So, paragraph using answer question not empty. Answer question set of p tag. Paragraph markup says the process is valid. HTML. Test aborted. Okay, number 3. What did I get wrong? And often, again, the unit test, what they tell you here is not very helpful. Okay. It should be more helpful, but let's see, we're going to go back to 3. All right, so, oh, I left this in there. They're getting rid of it. Back up here. All right, answer. Maybe I should go back and read the instructions. And number 3 says, using character A's print, be nice. Okay. Let's go back here. Let's go, oh, we are live. We'll go live. Where's my As far as I can tell, it looks right. Hang on a second.
You need it in the paragraph.
Well, oh, inside a paragraph. Ah,
Probably.
I was supposed to put it inside a paragraph. All right. Let's see if that's what it said.
No, but you did it with the one previous. And it worked out.
Yeah, I want to make sure that I want to see whether the instructions are bad. The questions 2 and 3 use character name selection text for example. Place the answer to each question inside a p tag. So that does say I need to have. So you need to be very careful. And that's one thing I'll say about the labs is that you need to be read very, very carefully and don't be casual.
Sometimes when you add it, and mark it wrong anyway.
Yeah, but that's why again you're doing 3 a week. You're going to have this down. You're going to master this by the time you get to the end. All right. All right. So I promised I'd go through that. I apologize for not doing it on Tuesday. If you were late on this one, I'll forgive you.
There you go.
10 out of 10. All right. Done. All right. We're going to go over forms a little bit. Actually, I'm just going to quickly look at chapter 3. Style. Last class we went over script and styles, including scripts and styles. I kind of went a little bit crazy on that. That's why I forgot to do the other one. All right, and let's go. Let's talk about forms. So here I've got, this is a form that has like everything. So I decided just to sort of throw the kitchen sink in.
Just every.
So I'm going to go live on this one. Okay. So I've got a couple of drop downs, one with a drop down, one I've got a multi-select drop down. Okay. Those are handy. I've got a password field. Password fields, of course, don't show you what's in there. Okay. We have checkboxes. What else we got? Radio buttons. Email address. Now, watch as I'm going to put my full email address in here, and these guys weren't validating this property. Let's go here. Let's put a date in. You got a color picker. So these are just demonstrating some of the different controls that you can use. And then you have this nice little slider. Okay. I'm going to send the birthday message. Oh, please match requested format. That looks like an email address to me. All right, let's go look at that. Maybe we can solve that problem. Okay, first of all, just the outline. It's really nice. You can use on a form. All you need to do is create a field set. Throw your legend in. Okay. And then again, put your content. Just gives you a nice place to, nice looking sort of outline, and you can put multiple sections if you want. So a select control has a name. Again, it can have an ID as well. Option value equal football. So all the options that drop down, this is what you actually see, and this is what actually gets sent back to the server if someone selects that option. Okay, so the value is different. The value's unseen, but it's it's the actual real value that's going to go back to the server. Some people might, let's say on the server, it's the database, for example, on the back end, I might just put the ID of football, the database ID of baseball. It might be 1, 2, 3, whatever. I mean, it can be whatever. Okay. So typically, if I were creating a database on the back end, I would create a database table that has, the display value, and then the value would probably be just the database key. And I would go and I'd grab that from the back end, then I would generate the select control on the fly. And you're going to be doing this a little later. So when I say on the fly, I'm saying I'm just going to create the DOM using JavaScript, and I'm going to stuff it in here. Okay. And we'll learn more about that later. So now I've got a select here that's size equal 4. So size says how many you want to display at once. Okay, so I'm only displaying red, orange, yellow, green. I could make it bigger. I could say make it 6. Okay. I've got 6 showing. And multiple says I can do multiple selects. I can select multiple ones of these using control click. Okay. Very handy. All right. I got a password. So input type equal password. Size equal 10. Max length is 10. So size is saying make it the size of 10 characters, and then the max length I can type in is 10. So if I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, okay, can't do it. Okay, so you can put restrictions in there. All right, let's go. Then I have some checkboxes. Okay, input type equal checkbox. I have my label. Again, the 4 here. ID birthday today. Okay, that's for accessibility purposes, so that we know that this label applies to this input. So if I'm blind, or I'm trying to go through a web form, it'll be able to read that label and let me know what the following input is. If I say checked to start off with, it's actually going to be checked. I'm going to take that off. Save it, and now you're going to see that birthday today starts out unchecked. Throw party starts out checked. Okay. Radio buttons. So radios are where things get a little interesting. Well, I mean, not tricky per se, but you can see here I got type equal radio, and I have name equal restaurants, and I have ID equal sub, okay, for Subway. Then I have name equal restaurants. Oh, name's the same. Ugh. Why is that?
Under the same radio button selection.
Right. So I'll just repeat. So when I send this data back to the server, if I make a selection, Subway, Starbucks, or Pizza Hut, only one of these is going to go back to the server. Or, when I post the form, the value that's going to go in the post is one of these three. And so this is called a radio button group. And you group a bunch of radio buttons by giving them the same name. And you'll see when we submit this that that's the case. So I'm going to continue to walk through these, and then we're going to go back. We're going to figure out what's wrong with my email. So birthday message. This is a input type equal text. Again, this is just you type in a birthday message. Now look, it's got content already. And that's because someone decided to put the value of the text box right here as happy birthday. And so that's the default value that's already in there. If I get rid of that, let's say I want to do you guys know about placeholders, right? Enter your birthday message. Placeholder is that little placeholder in there that shows you kind of what you're supposed to do, and then when you start typing, of course, that goes away. Right? Email address. Okay, so type equal email. Name equal email address, placeholder name at domain.com. Okay, and so this is what's called a regular expression. Has anyone ever heard of a regular expression before? Yeah, people might have heard of it. Okay, you might have heard of it, and just about every language, C++, C#, they all support regular expressions. This is a pattern that's going to match text. Okay. And it's not, so for example, when I try typing Kenneth.Jensen, which is valid, but what this says is it'll take lowercase a through z, or uppercase a through z, or numbers 0 through 9, or dashes.
No period.
But no period, so it's not liking a period. Okay. All right. So let's see here. If I add a period there, does it solve my problem? Let's go back. Ken.Jensen at gmail.com. I'm going to send my birthday message. Oh, it actually accepted that. That's not the world's best regular expression, but so real quickly, let me show you. All right, go back to my form. So now I'm submitting the form. Let's go back to the top of the form here, and you can see that I've got form method equal post, action equal HTTPS //w. Okay, this is actually a nice little web page that Zybooks has provided to show you the results of any form post. So I recommend that you sort of keep that in your back pocket, especially when you're doing these assignments, because they can help you understand kind of what's going on. And I'll show you other ways to do this too. Let's go method equal post. And I'll show you the difference between the post and the get. So what I have here is I got my request details. wp.zybox.com, requested URL was form viewer PHP, requesting IP address was my IP address, and the method was post. Okay, so by default, when you post, or so let's go down to my submit button here. Let me put that in there. Okay, so if I have a button, I don't even have this type equal submit. Probably still going to submit. Any button press inside the form is going to submit it. But I'm going to be a little bit more explicit here.
You need the birthday message one.
What's that?
You have to be that specific for the birthday message lab. For the button, it needs to be a type submit. It was very tricky.
Oh, you know what? Some of this actually is your birthday message, huh?
Yep.
So watch very carefully. This will help you with your upcoming lab. All right. So I'm being nice today. So, but a button inside a form tag, if I click on the button, it's going to submit the contents of the form. Well, what's the contents of the form? Well, it's going to submit all this stuff, okay, as long as it has a name attribute. Okay? So if I put something in here, and so let's go back and we'll see what we submitted. Now, in this case, I got sport, football, secret, didn't have anything, throw party on. Okay, that was a checkbox. Birthday message, didn't type anything in. Date to send, didn't type anything in. Message color, black, and then blank to 0, music volume 20. Okay, so is there anything that didn't get sent? Go back here. So secret, birthday today.
The radio.
And I probably didn't send it because we didn't select anything. But let's go. So, right. Throw party went, birthday didn't. Okay, it's whose birthday wasn't selected. Okay. Let's go. Let's go back. Segue. Let's do multi-select here. You can do shift, control or shift. All right, that's football. All right, let's go down. Birthday message. Hi. Date. Color, a little more interesting. Color. Number of links. So this is a number input. Okay. And then my range input. Boom. So now this is showing everything. All right. What's the difference between a post and a get? Someone speak up. Anyone know? All right, we'll go. We're actually going to go look at that. That's a good point. Someone tell me the difference between a post and a get.
Doesn't a get method send the information in the URL, then the post sends it in the message body?
Correct. Thank you. Okay. So going back here. If I say get, we'll just do a get real quick. We'll change it and we'll have a look. Go back here. Let's send the birthday message. Okay. So you see here I've got the same host name, requested URL. That's what it used to be. Now it's got this little question mark, and then it's got sport equal football, secret equal, okay, blank, throw party equal on, birthday message, email address equal. Now, did I make a whole bunch of these things empty? But the difference, of course, being that it's throwing it on the URL. What's the disadvantage of throwing all this information on the URL?
Because now you have all your information right there.
Yeah, I got all my personal information sitting on the URL. Yeah, I mean, someone could sniff that out or even just look at it in the browser. It's not your ideal. It's not ideal, especially, you know, social security number. Now, I mean, I'm not going to be putting social security number in a web form anyway, personally. All right, but the message body is hidden. Now, if you're not using HTTPS, then anyone with a sniffer can find it anyway and look at the message body and look at the information. Okay. Recommend that you don't fill out forms that are not locked down using HTTPS. HTTPS just simply encrypts the data from your browser to the server side, and so that encryption will not allow sniffers to go and grab your data. All right, let's go.
Yep, there's your buffer.
So I got flag colors equal orange and flag colors equal yellow and flag colors equal green. So my three separate selections, okay, were sent.
It's not in the submitted form either.
Yeah, it's not. This is just their page. It's how they developed their page. It's a PHP page. They're not properly displaying the result.
It's how they put on the page, not the fact that it didn't send it.
Okay. Any questions on sort of basic form mechanics? This is something that you're going to want to really do well on these assignments. You're going to be doing a lot more, you know, in the future. We're going to be using forms. We're going to be doing form validation. Now we were validating here, so let's go back here. So let's talk about validation a little bit more too. Let's go here to I've got music volume. So here I've got value 20. That was okay. So that was the beginning. Max is 50. That was the little slider. Okay, so it's at 20 out of 50. Okay. Min 0 max. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting constraints on the user. Okay. Constraint being you can only type in between 0 and 50. And I'm also saying it's type equal range. Well, actually, this is a range. So this is a slider. So it's not this the number one here. So type equal number, value equals 0, min 0, max 10. I'm constraining the user to put in between 0 and 10. So they're never going to put an invalid value. So that's nice. Okay. So when it comes to form validation, the idea is you want to make sure that the user either types in something that you want them to type in, or they type in the right thing, you know, of the right format, as in the email address, or they just have to type something. So if you want them to make sure that they do something, what attribute do you put?
Required.
Thank you, sir. All right. Let's go in here and let's just throw one in. Now, of course, this one already has something selected. Often we'll do something like this. Option. Select a sport. So let's select a sport. Boom. Now, my automatic validation, so I mean, it's going to pass back -1. Can I restrict this value. You know, I'm gonna play around a little bit. Usually, I do almost all my validation using JavaScript after the fact. So I would just say if the value is -1, error, right? But can I make HTML validate this for me? Let's play around with it. I'm gonna try something like this. Let's say this.
Any way to do it.
And 1. Just playing around for a second. What if I said, and I don't know, I don't think it'll even selectively even do this. I'm just playing. It's just having fun. Let's just say that the min has got to be 0. And it's probably not going to validate that. This was just sort of musing here for fun. Let's go select the sport 0 and let's send it the message. Yeah, and it didn't care. Okay, that's fine. You need to just invalidate that. I will leave that here. Okay. But if you have to do something, so let's see, I'll just say multiple and I'll say required here. And I'll say required on the password. And let's see what happens when it requires checkbox. And let's send the birthday message. Please select an item in the list. Okay, good. Send it again. Please fill out this field. Yep. Please check this box if you want to proceed. So when I require a checkbox, it's interesting because you're requiring a specific input, right? So
I am not a robot.
if it's not checked, it's not valid. So we're saying you have to check it. All right. Go ahead and send that birthday message. Oh, and it worked. All right, let's go back. Okay. All right, so notice that you get, if I say send this, okay, it's valid, dang it, hang on a second. I'll uncheck that, send it. You see this, please fill out this field. I didn't create that UI, that user interface is the default HTML5 response. Okay. For me, I like to write web pages that are, that correspond. I want to show the message in the way I want to show it, right? I want to make the border of the input red, and I want to show a message underneath. I want to do it differently, okay? And so, again, as we go forward, I'm going to show you how we can actually, and once we get to JavaScript, we'll start doing some form validation. I'll show you, but I can suppress that. Let's go back here. I don't want those little pop-ups to come. I want to handle everything myself, okay? And so I'm going to get rid of the method. I'm going to put method back to post because that's my preferred. And I'm going to put in something here called no validate. That's an attribute property on the form that says this Boolean attribute indicates the form is not to be validated when submitted. Because attribute is not specified and therefore the form is validated, this default setting can be overridden by a form no validate attribute on a button or input element belonging to the form. Okie doke. What that's gonna do here, of course, is it's just gonna post it regardless. It's not gonna validate. And what it's saying is, okay, I'm depending on you to use JavaScript or whatever else to validate the form before you submit it. Otherwise, the data may be incorrect. Okay. All right. I am going to take a short break. I drank way too much water this morning, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes. You guys can play around with your forms and come up with some questions that you want to ask, and I'll be right back. All right, does anyone have any questions? This is your chance. Okay, so again, in your upcoming lab here, joining social network, that's the one I think due on Monday. Note here that you've got, we're choosing a file. Okay. Of course, if you want to choose an image and you want to upload that to the server, first of all, note that you must use the post method. Okay. And encoding type multi-part form data. And that's, again, that's just in the actual form tag, and type equal multi-part form data. What that means is it's multi-part. Okay, well, if I decide to attach a 1 megabyte image or something like that, what the HTTP request is going to do, it's going to break that image up into multiple parts, or it's going to break or at least 2 parts. The form is going to be stuffed into 1 part, and the image is going to be base64 encoded. And they're going to take the image, and they're going to code it into base64, which is text. Okay? Then they're going to stuff it in another part, or it might even be multiple parts. If you're on the server side, essentially most web servers who are processing this know how to take an image and reconstitute it. So everything that goes across the wire is going to be encoded before it goes. So for example, let's go back. If I actually had, let's actually, but let's go to the form itself. Happy birthday message creator. If I say my space name is Ken, okay, let's actually look at what gets posted here. Let's use a get real quick. Back and submit that. Get, save it. Yeah. Start that. Okay. Just wanted to demonstrate real quick. So if I have a space, so URLs don't like spaces. Okay. And so in this case, every time that you go to submit data, especially on the URL here, it's going to be encoded by the browser. It's not, okay, so as it grabs that data, it's going to, oh, I got spaces. I need to replace those spaces, in this case with pluses. Okay. They could also be replaced with the %20 or no, %32, I think, which is a space character. Here you can see I've got color equal %23. Is that the actual? No. See, %23, that's the pound sign. Okay, and we don't, again, if I'm sending a pound sign, that means something on a URL. So I need to encode it. So we encode it as a %23. Okay. But again, just be aware that everything is encoded as it goes back. And again, just like an image would be, if I'm passing it, that's binary, pixels and stuff. It's going to take it, it's going to convert it into a textual form. In fact, we could go First of all, so that viewer program is great, but it actually masks some things that otherwise you might see. So I'm going into my debugger, and again, you just right-click, inspect. I recommend that you do this with every single program that you do, just so you get to know the debugger and see what's going on, right? So I got my source code right here. Okay. Test form HTML. Okay. Again, the nice thing here is I can actually, then I got my elements, which looks a lot like your sources, but what's the difference between the sources tab and the elements tab? Someone speak up. What's the elements tab showing us? Is it showing us the source code?
Highlighting.
Okay, I can also go in here and I can say, I can double click on that, change it. Okay. Oh, it changed. Oh, did that change my source code? No. Ah, okay. So the source is your original source code, which I'm editing in Visual Studio Code. But when you load it in the browser, it no longer becomes your source, right? It gets parsed into the browser, into the DOM, the document object model, which is just this hierarchical tree structure in memory of all these little objects. Okay, so again, the browser doesn't use your source code, right? There's all sorts of things that advantages it gets by parsing it into a nice tree structure. Why? But I click on something, an event gets thrown. It manages events, right? Events and event bubbling going up the tree. It manages applying the styles, right? Because I might have multiple style sheets, right? So the browser is doing a whole lot of things to the DOM that you're not going to necessarily see in your source code. In your source code, right, I'm building it such that I'm going to get a result, right? Sometimes the result is not exactly how I envision it. So that's why the browser is great, because I can come into the Elements tab here, and I can see exactly what has been rendered. And also I can go in here, I can select select an element page right here, select an element. I can go and select that, and it selects it for me here in the DOM, type equal checkbox, birthday name, birthday required. I can look over here and I can see what styles are being applied to that. Right? The user agent style sheet, of course, is the default browser style sheet. You don't really have access to that. It's just all browsers, they try to be really consistent across, okay? But by default, the input, has color, black, white, okay? It's got all sorts of characteristics and properties. Look here real quick too. I've got computed on the right-hand side, and let's see here. These are the computed properties. These are the properties that are based on the browser or the current situation, the size of the window, whatever else. These are the actual properties that are in play right now for that. Let's see, color, black, white. Okay, so based on these styles, the computed one says these are the actual attributes, current attributes for that element. I can also, look here, I can look at this element and I can see, the checkbox is 12.667 pixels by 12.667 pixels. It's got no padding, no border, but it's got a margin of 3 pixels around it. Okay, that's good to know. And as I highlight that margin, you see over here on the page, you see it showing up. There's my 3 pixel margin. It's actually just shown there. So you can see how your element is being laid out on the page, which is quite nice. I don't have any event listeners. Let's see. These are things that don't really look at too much. Styles computed are these two I often use, especially when I'm looking at kind of the padding and margin and border around things. Okay. This is the one I use the most, the styles. Okay. And this element.style, this empty one, right? Allows me to just go in. I can just start playing around. I can say, oh, well, let's say I want margin 10 pixels. Whoops. Oh, boom, now I've just created this 10 pixel margin. Okay. So I can actually play around with styles on the fly. And then I think, okay, yeah, that works. And I just take that, I can copy it and throw it into my source code. Or as you recall, in the sources tab, if I go into file system, I can actually, if you haven't done this yet, you should play around with it. Okay. See that? That is that. Second. I have the path here, so I'm doing it. Okay, so if I add this folder to the file system tab in the sources here, and I click allow, now I've got test form HTML, forms from class right here. Okay, and this is test form HTML. Okay, cool thing now is that I'm in the sources tab. Before, if I make changes, that would, not get reflected. Well, actually, let's go to the elements tab, and still, let's just want you to see the difference here. This still has LA the wrong, a different. This is the DOM. I'm manipulating the DOM. If I change the DOM, it's not going to change my source code. Okay. It hasn't changed here. But the nice thing too is I can say, oh, darn it, I forgot to make this change. And right here in the sources tab, I can now say sport instead of sport and color. Right. So I say, and then I can save that, and I go back to here, and look, it's actually changed in my original source code. In most cases, I say, I just discovered this, in the last couple of years. This is possible. Usually, the page itself is showing you the source code, but modifying it doesn't do anything. If you add your file system folder here, you can actually make changes to your source code, test it, change, test, right from within the browser. How much time do I got? It's 5:02. All right, it's 11:10. I have 5 minutes. Okay. So that. Any questions, folks? All right. Some of you might ask, can I have this source code? I do. There is actually quite a bit of source code that you can download and utilize. I'll show you real quick. In files, example code. Oh, look at all this example code you've got. This is for forms. You got Flexbox form validation. This is something, a little more advanced stuff, but checks and radios. I've got stuff on local storage, which you're going to be learning about. Some sort of base. Anyway, so there's source code here. You can download this source just to refer to it. Regex. So I've got some regex stuff. Also, remember I got these cheat sheets. You should download those and print those. Okay. It just has CSS and HTML5 cheat sheet, for example. It's got all the tags, right, what they are. So again, some really good resources there. Also remember in a bunch of slides here. If you want to review HTML and CSS, these are some slides that we put together. Introduction to JavaScript. So these are separate content, I don't use all these in class, but they're very useful. And going back to pages real quick, a few minutes. There's some published pages here that you might be interested in. HTML resources is a really good one. Yeah, just goes through the different references, tools, templates. And again, some of these things you're not going to be using Bootstrap. You're going to be working on Flexbox and CSS Grid, and links to all your cheat sheets. All right. Any questions, thoughts, concerns? I think you should be well set up for all this next week. So obviously crank on these labs. I try to get most of them done today. You obviously need to do your CSS chapter. The chapters here on out get a little more involved. So don't wait till the last minute, to the last day to get the chapter done. Because some of these chapters, especially we're going into 5, 6, 7, those are long and involved. Lots of participation activities, lots of challenge activities. And again, you still have a few labs to do as well. This semester, again, I've chosen not to give you personal projects early in the semester. I'm having you just do labs. And I'm seeing how well that works. I mean, you do more labs than the class last year did. I mean, you do less projects. Once you get all these skills mastered, then we're going to start having you build your own projects toward the end of the semester. That is all I think I have today. If anybody has any questions, Raphael, we can chat afterwards. All right. So whoever started the meeting, you have to end the meeting, all right? Please don't start the meeting before me next time.